This show is sponsored by GeForce NOW, NVIDIA's cloud gaming service that transforms nearly any laptop, desktop, tablet, and smartphone into a powerful PC gaming rig. With the new GeForce NOW RTX 3080 membership, you can upgrade nearly any device to a GeForce RTX 3080 powered gaming machine, unlocking up to 1440p, 120 frames per second, and 4K HDR. Play the most anticipated new releases, the world's largest free-to-play titles, and hundreds of games you already own with RTX on. Pre-order a GeForce NOW RTX 3080 membership at GeForceNow.com. Limited memberships are available. Thanks again to GeForce NOW for sponsoring this episode.
Welcome to the Game Informer Show, a weekly gaming podcast releasing every Thursday. I am Alex Stadnik, and as always, I'm honored to be joined by my illustrious co-host, Alex Van Aken.
Hello, Alex. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. I invited more people, but
Didn't just like my 11th birthday, bringing the trauma right back. It's all right though, because we've got an exciting episode for everybody. It's going to be a great show. Thank you for having me, Alex.
You're welcome. When I see you later, I'll give you a hug too.
Thanks,
I didn't mean to bring up your 11th birthday. Yikes.
Yeah. Just came right at it, but that's okay.
I was going for like the 13th or 14th birthday, but
those were good. Definitely improvements.
Good. Like the show hopefully will. Join us each episode alongside a rotating crew of GI editors and special guests from around the industry as we bring you the latest news, reviews, and big man swag your eyes and ears can handle. This week, got another packed show. We're talking about the Sony State of Play. We are talking about Darkest Dungeon 2 Early Access and so much more. But first, I guess let's introduce everyone. They're not here. They'll be here though. We promise. We had the Sony State of Play to cover, and I won't get too inside baseball with it, but we thought that'd be the big news of the week, and here we are. There's a lot. Yeah, right. let's just jump into it, right? The news of the week. So Sony announced last week that they'd be doing a State of Play, which I think they need another moniker for like the third party ones, because they've done a couple of these where it's like Crash Bandicoot and a couple other things. And I feel like the hype, and maybe that's our fault, right? On the internet getting way too hyped for this. But like, some of these I would have just been okay with like tweets or YouTube videos, like that kind of stuff. But we'll get into what was there. So looking at the article here, we started the show with Deathverse, Let It Die,
right?
Yeah.
This is the same universe as the skateboarding skeleton from a few years ago, right?
I think
the original Let It Die.
People on my timeline seem to be making some sort of connection. I'd never heard of this, and frankly, I couldn't read the text on stream for it. But
it was an old PS Plus title that people enjoyed.
Gotcha. And I'm going to list the games that they talked about today, but I think I want to focus on what were the highlights, right? Because the world is a dark and scary place, and we want to focus on the things that make us excited, right?
Yes.
Unlike your birthday, apparently. So
it was a state of gray that day. Just, I'm sorry,
bro. You're on fire today.
Unplugged.
Yeah.
What'd you say? Were you saying how terrible I am of a person?
No, I think you're a gem, and we should protect you at all costs.
Thank you.
We Are OFK was also an interesting one. Stylistically wise.
That one I actually, when I was watching you and Blake stream, I didn't really get what it was, and I went back and watched the trailer afterwards. I'm actually more excited about it. It's an LA-based band, and like they are making a biopic. I didn't realize it was a biopic of the history of their band. It's 5 episodes. It's like a narrative adventure game about their band. It seems really, I don't know anything about the band, but we don't really have anything like that in the game space, and therefore I'm interested.
So let me be clear. It is a real band. And their biopic is in game instead of like writing it out or doing a movie. Okay.
Exactly.
That's fascinating. I didn't know. I thought you maybe meant the characters were in a band. I
No,
wasn't
they are
exactly
like
sure.
real life people
Huh. Okay. I'll have
that
to
they
look
have
them up.
like, yeah, it's like instead of writing a book about their band or like you said, doing a movie, they're making a game, which is cool.
Yeah. That makes that even more interesting. I am not usually into the dating sims or the relationship builders outside of something like Mass Effect.
And
But
I
I
don't
think
even know if it's a dating sim.
they
I
did.
think it's, oh, did it say?
I thought they said you could like date or there's real I know there's relationship building in it. I don't know,
Okay.
maybe you're right, maybe it's not dating. We're recording this pretty much fresh
Yeah,
off
right
the
after.
after the stream, so some details are aloof to us, but with the style and that interesting angle, I definitely am curious because it was hard to hear on stream, but they were talking about like, oh, we're shooting the PlayStation promo. I was like, okay, how meta are they getting with
Oh,
this?
very meta. Yeah.
Yeah. um so that's one that's struck me as interesting. I don't know. I can't sit here and tell you if I'm going to play it for sure, but I'm not opposed. I'm not
Yeah.
opposed. So, we also got King of Fighters 15 beta date, which I'm sure the
John
King of Late Night,
Carson.
John Carson, is all about. He's a
Yeah.
big fighter game fan. You are to a certain extent, but not. I don't think you're a King of Fighters fan. Am I speaking out of
I would
turn?
call myself a small fighting game fan. Here
Mm-hmm.
and there, I will dip my toes into the water. I played them a lot more growing up than I do now, but never the King of Fighters series. But I know there's, I've watched Giant Bomb enough to know that game has a fan base. So
Definitely. Um, Moving right along, I'm gonna save our big highlights that we talked about for the end, if that's cool.
yeah, yeah,
Star Ocean: The Divine Force was announced for PS4 and PS5 for a 2022 release date. I am not a Star Ocean fan, neither are you. Hopefully this turns around for people. I was reading on the timeline, which Twitter is hit or miss with information, but I understand this last couple Star Ocean games aren't
mm,
as well received as in the past. So hopefully this is a return to form for the series. Um, it went from Blake and I were watching it, and Blake was like, "This is a Blake jam," and then he saw more of it, and he's like, "This is
is
not my cup
not.
of tea." So,
Yeah,
um, uh, something that I think you are a fan of that it doesn't appeal to my taste as much is Bug Snacks: The Isle of Big Snacks. Free update coming to Bug Snacks here in 2022. I
yeah.
don't see a date.
Yeah, it is early 2022. It's free. So if you own Bug Snacks, you get it. I like the idea of Bug Snacks. I enjoyed my time playing the game, but I fell off of it. I thought some of the characters were really funny, actually.
Mm,
Like the ketchup farmer in particular was hilarious. Certain moments in that game were hit or miss. Like the ketchup farmer was the highlight. I feel like that game started really interesting, and then I don't know, my interest waned and I fell off of it.
yeah.
But they are introducing like a customizable house in the DLC that you can like upgrade and change, and that got me interested. I'm always all about the house decorations, it looked like it kind of upgraded and scaled up
Hmm.
as you did things in the game. I'm not sure, but yeah, if you're a big fan of Bug Snacks, there are big bugs in this new DLC. Like that's like the thing is the
Hmm.
Isle of Big Bugs or something. Yeah, the Isle of Big Snacks is what it's
Yeah.
called.
Big
So
snacks, baby. As
yeah,
Kings of the Big Man swag here, we love a big snack.
it's true. It's
And
true. I could go for one right now, honestly.
I really could. I can't get into it right now. Tack was talking about how hungry he was earlier. I'm equally, if not more hungry than I was before. And the bug snacks didn't help. Imagine that.
Mm, no.
Um, what else did we have here? Here, I'm scrolling through my notes real quick. I
Five
apologize.
Nights at Freddy's.
Yes, let's talk about Five Nights at Fred's. So I feel like that's one of the bigger news pieces out of this was that we finally got a date, which I think it had been delayed at some point. Because we had seen it, I feel like a year ago at some
Maybe
point. Maybe I
longer.
could be wrong. Yeah.
Maybe
Um,
longer.
but Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach coming December 16th, coming this year.
Huh.
Right in time for the holiday season, it would seem.
Yeah.
This one, if you're familiar with Five Nights at Freddy's, you'd be familiar with the more like focused, or at least the older ones, right? Or more like you were in the control pit, you were trying not to die from these terrifying mechanical Chuck E. Cheese animatronic figures, right? With some really like deep, scary lore. Like they would like a serial killer would come and shove people's bodies, and it was a whole thing. I don't know. It was very disturbing.
Sounds not great.
We played it in college. We screamed. We should have gotten in trouble, but we didn't. It was great. But this looks like
you weren't allowed to scream in college, I take
correct.
it?
Yeah. It was a very we were a very pious bunch in college. I don't know. Yeah. So this looks like it's taking the series in a new direction, right? You're not just isolated now. And forgive my ignorance, I don't know what the more recent Five Nights at Freddy's look like. But this seems like a pretty big departure. You get to get into one of the animatronic things now. So I'm curious about this one, but I think I'm gonna sit on the sidelines as I do with spooky games.
This is the most tempted I've been to play a Five Nights at Freddy's game. The mall that it takes place in looks interesting and colorful, and just me and the scaries. I don't know. I would love to watch somebody play this game, which I think is like what a lot of people do. The series is obviously really big on YouTube and Twitch, the former especially. So I am interested in watching this one. So
okay, yeah. Well, you'll get your Christmas time ruined pretty quickly. Like I said, December 16th for that. And it was weird too. There was like the animatronic figures were like jamming out, like they were playing a concert or something like that. There's the imagery of that is very interesting. So
the lore is deep.
Yes, give me the lore.
Yeah.
I think those were the main beats I wanted to cover before we hit our two big things.
Yeah. I think that's the majority of it as well.
Yeah, which is weird. It was only 20 minutes, right? So it went quickly, but I feel like I'm missing something. So I'm sure our commenters will let me know after we post this. But two big things. First, Death's Door, GI acclaimed indie game.
Yes.
Is finally coming to PlayStation, and not just PlayStation.
This game.
But Switch as well. Obviously, they didn't announce that at the State of Play, but we looked after, and it is coming to Switch as well.
Yeah.
Which I was surprised because I figured this was going to be a year of exclusivity on Xbox. I don't know if they had said otherwise, but it's not. It is November 23rd. It is finally coming to PlayStation, and so PlayStation for sure. It's coming to Switch. I don't know when it's coming to Switch though.
Okay.
But you also get. I thought this was a really nice touch. If you pre-order it, you get Titan Souls for free. The first game that the developer made.
Yeah, I remember that being a thing. That's cool.
Yeah, which is a nice touch because I have not played it, but Marcus, who is one of our big indie fans here in the office, played it and really loved it. Like he thinks it's a really good game. Which, if Death's Door is any indication, I would tend to believe him, and it would make me curious to give that another shot. Alex, I guess explain to me, because I think for the passerby, right, who maybe isn't as locked in, they see a little crow hacking and slashing. Like, explain to the people why this game is special and why this is exciting for more people to get to play it.
Yeah, if you're a fan of Zelda games of old, the dungeon designs where there is a core mechanic that you have to learn and then use to many different lengths and situations and really master that mechanic to move on to the next part of the world, that's Death's Door. But I mean, number one, the art style, the art direction is so it's just really pretty. It is somehow, it's not, it should be drab. I feel like in other games it might look drab. In this game it is, the lighting and the colors, it's just all perfectly in tune, and it's like this world of death, and so the less saturated colors make sense, right? It's not a game about life. You are quite literally playing a reaper taking souls, and so like the color palette reflects that. But it's gorgeous. The music is really pretty. But also I love its characters. And that's usually the weak point for these games for me. And in Death's Door, it is a pretty strong point for me. It's one of the reasons I enjoy the game so much, is it's roster of characters, their interactions with each other. The bosses in the game remind me of like a Ghibli, like a Spirited Away movie.
Mm.
Um, there's just it's a really cool, really well realized world, and it's worth playing. If you don't have an Xbox or a PC and you have a Switch or PlayStation, make sure to play this game. It's my number 2 game of the year right now, and on my number 2 right
Oh,
now.
yeah. That's what's up.
So
Yeah.
it is one of my favorite indies in a long time.
Mm.
It's just so good,
Yeah.
very well polished too.
Yeah. And it's relatively short. So if y'all are sitting there, you're
Mhm.
like, oh, it's just too many games. Why are there so many games? It's only
About
like
8 hours.
it's 8 to 10, depending on
Yeah.
there's some end game there
I
that
think mine was
I
actually
didn't get to.
11 now that I think about it. I think I
Okay.
clocked in at 11
Did you do
hours.
like some of the end game stuff?
A little bit, not much.
Gotcha. Yeah. No. So there's a whole nother level of that game that I really haven't experienced because I stopped playing when the game ended. So
Yeah.
um also just to confirm, it is coming to Switch on the 23rd along with the PlayStation consoles, and
Okay.
it is Titan Souls is a pre-order bonus. So
Okay. Cool.
I just wanted to confirm those things. The other thing I want to hit on, just why that game is special, is the music is incredible. Especially, I think the third boss fight has some of my best or some of my favorite music of the year. Um, how it handles, I've liked how you've talked about it, Alex, and you've brought this up, but there's like a reverence to death in the game that
Hmm.
doesn't feel morbid. It feels accepting that we all die, right? But it handles it in a very mature, interesting way that
Yeah.
I agree. I don't think should be
Which is
missed. And
unexpected for like a fantasy game.
right about a crow, right? It's
Yeah.
it's like little crows running around, and I that is a special game, and I think will be discussed in our end of year conversations.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people on the GI staff, particular, were really taken with that game. So now's everyone's chance to play it, which is
Yeah.
exciting.
Don't miss it.
Yeah. So the final highlight, as far as I remember, which my memory is hit or miss sometimes, but as Sony tweeted out and said early on, we are finally getting to see Little Devil Inside for the first time in a long time,
Yeah.
uh, which was for me equal parts a highlight and a small bit of disappointment. We can get into the disappointment stuff later, but let's set the stage. You're excited about this game too, right? Like, what is Little Devil Inside as far as you know?
I don't even know, dude. It's like a cinematic indie game about trains. Now I know it's about trains.
Planes and automobiles. Yeah.
Yeah, about traversing this world. It seems like you're like a delivery person and you are delivering packages. Is that right?
I'm not sure about
I've
that,
seen
but
so many trailers about this game and know that I want to play it, but don't know anything else about it.
yeah,
It's the art style is ridiculous.
for sure. It is a gorgeous indie game. It's more survival, so you're doing a lot of cooking, a lot
Yeah,
of traveling,
which
and obviously we saw combat in there as well. What's
yeah,
up?
it's an action adventure game,
Yeah.
single player and cooperative. I didn't know that.
Oh,
Cooperative multiplayer modes both follow the professional and personal lives of explorers searching for monsters and supernatural events in a 19th century inspired world. So nothing about delivering mail, Alex.
can
Uh,
confirm here on the Game Informer show. Yeah.
he did like I guess it was a train station. I thought the trailer started at a post office, but it was a train station.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like an odyssey of sorts.
Hmm.
That's all I knew about the game.
Yeah.
It seems like you're hunting monsters, but
Hmm.
it just is intrigued me.
Yeah. Visually very, very stunning. There seems to be a nice quirk to it too, which I always love. There
There's like a
seems to
Tim Burton flavor to it or
a little
something.
bit, yeah. You know, uh, I was taken with it when we first saw it last year. I know there was a Kickstarter campaign for it where that kind of, I don't know if it dulled or went away, whatever we want to call it. But then it appeared on the Sony stage, I think summer of last year, but then it went away, and there was a bit of controversy because there was some representation of characters that was not cool. But the studio apologized for it and moved and made it better. It would seem, um, and I'm just excited to see more from this game because we got our first little taste of like what combat would look like, right? And cooking and some of the traversal. I love the toy box aesthetic. Like you're playing, on this giant model world, right? For some of that traversal and whatnot. So it's hitting a lot of interesting, it's checking a lot of interesting boxes for me. It is alarming to me that we got not even a release year, which was surprising to me. And I was kind of made me question why we're even doing the Sony State of Play if that game is still like a while out. It presumably is going to be 2022. Like, I think that game has been there, been in development for quite some time now. But who knows? They didn't put any sort of date on it, which I thought was a bummer. I thought we were going to get like a release year, but
Yeah, from what I hear, it's a really small team. Like they were like getting like Unity like asset store grants and stuff.
Wow.
Like as far as I remember, because I've dabbled in game dev here and there, and there was like a tool set I was looking at using, like it was like a behind the scenes tool set, and this was years ago, and Little Devil Inside was like featured on like, here are upcoming games that use our tool set. Like it seemed like it was a very small studio, like yeah, I don't know, but I could be wrong. So I imagine they're just taking their time. They don't want to announce it preemptively.
Like we could be in a Tunic situation, right, where it just keeps getting pushed and pushed and pushed, and then like then there's no word.
I hope it like cools its jets, because I've seen Tunic too many times now.
Yes.
Whereas I just want Tunic now. I hope Little Devil Inside kind of, especially it's a game about it seemingly mystery, kind of keep that air of mystery about the product itself until they're ready to like talk about like launch. Because I've seen enough where I want to play it. That's all I need to see.
For sure. And I'm not usually a survival game guy. I just think it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work keeping myself alive. It's hard for me to do that in game too. But with the visual aesthetic of this game, and some of the influences and the creature design too. Like I'm very interested. Weirdly enough, according to our own John Carson, it's getting developed for not only PlayStation 5 but PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. So like I thought this was a PlayStation indie through and through. Apparently not. It is. I knew developer NeoStream was developing it, but I thought it was like PlayStation exclusive. So I'm wrong apparently, which I'm happy I looked that up. Which actually makes me even more excited, because to play that thing on Switch, like Switch OLED too, ooh, give it to me. I'm excited about that. So, but we're gonna have to wait and see when that. I don't know if they've ever even confirmed a date on that, but
no. It's always been like, it always feels like it's just like a year out.
Yeah. So
and yet again, it feels like it's like maybe a year out.
Yeah. Which like, I'm okay if it's 2023. That feels like a great early 2023 game if that's how far out they are on it. But that's why I guess my disappointment's very strong. But like my critique, I would say, is like, if it's that long from now, why talk about it now? You know what I mean? Like I feel like my hype would have been as high for that game seeing that in 6 months versus now, when the year is basically set. The first 4 months of the year of 2022 have stuff. Like I wasn't sitting there going like, I need something about Little Devil Inside. But obviously Sony felt like they had enough of a collection of games to come out and talk about today, and they did, and we watched it. So
we did.
Yes, we did.
And now you don't have to.
Yeah.
Go watch the trailers.
Exactly. So yeah, not my favorite state of play. I would love, because I think there's value in doing these for Sony, but I would love to see them maybe change the branding on it a little bit.
Yeah.
Like Nintendo does, for example. Nintendo does the Indie World Directs, right?
Yeah.
And you very much know right off the bat what you're getting, I guess to PlayStation's credit, they did say that this was third party only. But then, you think about their partnerships and who they partner with, with Square Enix and that kind of stuff. And it's like,
Yeah, I'm with you. They
I
need
think
some
that
sort of like differentiator, like because was the big live stream we had like a couple like last month, was that a state of play or
nope.
was that was a showcase?
That was it was a PlayStation showcase. So they have
Okay.
PlayStation Showcase and State of Play. And I
Yeah.
feel like this should be
One more.
like PlayStation Indie Party or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because Star Ocean's not indie, right? Square is publishing that, but just something a little bit more.
The PlayStation Indie playlist.
There you go. Well, we'll have to talk to them if they want to take the playlist from us. That's a Game Informer thing. We're the first person ever to talk about a playlist.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, just maybe something a little bit different to kind of like nip that over excitement in the bud. So we'll see. I appreciate new looks at games nonetheless, but I think my expectations were probably a little too high, and that's on me. So
yeah, I don't know. That just means the next one's going to be even better.
Exactly. Oh, there we go. I like that. Kind of ebb and flow. Yeah, because that's just like life. Not everything can be PlayStation Showcase.
The next one's going to be a banger.
Bang, guaranteed. Alex, do
I
you hear
hope.
that?
No, what? What is that?
Oh, I think the party's here. Someone's knocking on my door.
Oh yeah.
Oh, coming. We'll be right back. We'll go. I'll go bring him in, and we'll get to the topic of the week. Welcome back to the Game Informer Show. I've brought in a wonderful panel, one of the best panels, one could say. The EIC is here in the flesh. Andrew Reiner, hello.
Hello, Alex. Hello, everyone. Good to see you.
Hello.
Good to see you. Good to have you. We're going to talk some Guardians here soon. And then, you know him, you love him, international man of mystery, Dan Tack.
Hey, it's great to be here, Alex. Let's go.
Let's go indeed. And then it's a party when the K-Star is here. Kimberly Wallace is joining us. Hello, Kim.
Hey. Excited to talk about RPGs, sports, my favorite combination. And Dan, come on, you gotta get up. Let's go.
Well, you gotta see, you gotta build the hype first. Then you let it go.
RPGs and sports. Is Sports Story out finally? I've been waiting ages.
That was mean.
Perfect
right in my heart.
combination.
Yeah.
Well, Alex's comment is not going to derail us because we're gonna go to topic of the show, which was a bit unexpected for me because I came into this week expecting to talk about Guardians, maybe a little bit of Shin Megami Tensei with Kim, but there's this other game that came out in early access, little Darkest Dungeon 2, that Dan has been playing and is taking the world by storm, or at least our corner of the world, anyways.
Twitter, a very small subset.
Is it taking the world by storm?
You tell us.
I mean, it is absolutely beautiful. It achieves things on epic scale in terms of like art, music, and cohesion between all that in the game mechanics and atmosphere. It's really great in those regards. Obviously, some people who love Darkest Dungeon 1 are kind of coming at it because it's very different. It's a very different game. So you have the same cast of characters, basically, and you have a lot of the same combat mechanics, but the game itself is very different. So one of the big aspects of the first game was actually sort of a management sim where you build up a town and have a huge crew of people, 20 plus individuals you've got to kind of balance out, keep their stress levels low, get them all equipped, get them all worked up, get them levels, get them train them on all their quirks, get their diseases cured. So you're doing a lot of like sim management elements in the first game that are gone now. Now we've gone to a more traditional run-based roguelike. You pick your crew, you go out on a run, you either beat the run or everybody dies. That's it. You start fresh. No sim management elements whatsoever. So people really loved that element of the first game, and so they're like, this is something new. And whenever you have something new in an established franchise, obviously there's going to be some kind of pushback. I think once we're out of early access and all of the elements are tweaked and refined, this is going to stand very tall on its own. Just the animation, the first one has a completely amazing visual style if you haven't seen it, but this one has that and more. Fully 3D models are just incredibly good in this game. They just really capture the essence and style. Style, big word. Cosmic horror style. This game, good stuff.
Oh
yeah.
So, Dan,
I hope that's in the review.
That's the headline. Darkest Dungeon 2. People are like, what are they?
Alex,
What?
Alex, we may need to censor some of this, but I think you had a question for Dan Tack.
Yeah, Dan, you mentioned, I was a fan of those sim elements in the first game. I felt like that was pretty intrinsic to its identity as Darkest Dungeon. So now you take all of that away. Is it just another roguelike? Like, how is it kind of separated in itself, aside from its cool art style, in a sea of other, titles like that?
I mean, in my mind, there are a few games that reach this cohesive sense that this game has. Like Hades does it, where you feel like all the elements are just really interconnected. You don't ever feel like, okay, the music team did this part, the graphics team did this part, the narrator team did this part. They all feel like they were done by the same overarching mind, right? They all sync up really immaculately. So that element was I also found in the first game, right? But so basically, a lot of the elements of the first game have been tweaked a lot and refined. But yeah, you're not going to have those sim management elements. If you want to think of it as just another roguelike, sure, it has lots of roguelike elements to it. But that's, is every game just another shooter, just another RPG? I mean, you're right.
Sometimes.
The sim management stuff is cool. Well, sometimes, yes. This is not it. This is not the case with this one, all right?
Good.
And I encourage you to hop in and try. Obviously, some people might want to wait for early access to be over, and that's a long time out. But if you remember, Darkest Dungeon 1 didn't launch as this amazing thing either. It went through a very lengthy tweaking and test cycle as well. Very lengthy early access. Lots of different ideas were tried out. Some people hated it and still exist today, like the corpse graves where people die and all that stuff. But these mechanics, they get refined. They will get refined. One cool thing they added in this one is interactive character backstories, where you get to actually play as the characters in their prior, before they became these castaways on the road to redemption. You go into these bits. So you go to like a hero shrine, as they're called, and you can be like, I want to go into the backstory of the Plague Doctor and find out how she experimented on corpses and, made Frankenstein monsters essentially and stole a bunch of stuff from the university that she was at. There are no good people in Darkest Dungeon. Nope. They all have very, very bad pasts. And they're all sort of on the road to redemption. And there's some really interesting meta commentary going on here. There is a story. We are not going to see the half of it here in early access. You can barely dip into it at all. There's only one act, but there's the implication. I'm getting some kind of like, purgatorial vibes out of this thing for the whole crew, but we'll see where things lead as we get more and more narrative bits. That's one of the reasons I don't really like early access stuff sometimes. Like with Baldur's Gate 3, I'm trying to stay the hell away from that game until it's done and I can play through the whole thing. In this game, since it's a roguelike, I'm more comfortable kind of diving in, being like, I'm just going to do 50 runs anyway. So I'm not really ruining the story ahead of time or anything because it's not all there. But again, I would encourage you to dive in, see the changes. And not everything is perfect yet. There's the new stress system spirals out of control very quickly. There's now relationships between the characters and the team, which is something that didn't exist before. So they can like each other or hate each other, and they really get in each other's faces. And I think a lot of that stuff is going to need some tweaks. But
does that change the gameplay?
It does.
Is there balancing? Okay.
It does. You really have to, in the first one, stress is bad. In this one, if your stress hits over a certain tipping point, like halfway, your whole team is just going to go to crap real fast, way too fast, even for Darkest Dungeon. It's a juggling act, and it prioritizes stress relief. I think maybe a little bit too much, but I'm sure they've got all the data and analytics that they're going to be crunching as they go through these things. And also, you're not dungeon crawling anymore. You're in a caravan. Really? You're driving a car around.
Okay.
Why isn't it called Darkest Caravan then?
I know, it really should be, right? I mean, essentially the levels are still dungeons, but they're done in a way
with highways.
Yeah, it's really a dungeon, right? But instead it's an overworld that you're driving a cart around and talking to people on the side of the road, running into merchants. It's people have likened the whole map structure to Slay the Spire, and they're not wrong. We will be likening things to Slay the Spire for the rest of our days. But obviously, it has its own identity on top of that element, which half of all roguelikes today are now using that system, right? So
that's cool. I'm excited. I came on the Darkest Dungeon 1 train very late. I played it on iPad. So
that is
how,
incredibly late.
yeah, exactly. But I loved it, and it was something different. And while I loved the sim aspects of it, there's still those like the stress system, even though it might not be balanced correctly. And the relationships sound interesting in the context of this series. So I'm excited to give it a try for sure.
So
And you should. I mean, I can't say this. It's really, really good. Obviously, it's foundational. We have a year of early access or more, I think. So it's going to take time, but what's there is really great. Really,
Awesome.
really great. Just a feast for the senses.
Yeah.
oh, there you go. There's a box
Ooh,
quote for
man.
you.
Yeah.
And I said it on the NGT too, but Tack, you are a man of taste, and I feel like you are even keel when it comes to games in general. But there's sometimes where you're like, yo, like we need to do videos on this. We need to cover this, and this was one of them. And I got to check it out. And I usually like it depends on your recommendation if I play it or not. But I was like, okay, I'll check it out. And as someone who has no knowledge of Darkest Dungeon 1, it's hard, but I can feel it. I can feel its pull on me, and I'm thinking about it right now because it is a very interesting battle system, right? That you have to be very thoughtful in because it's this lines of, and if I'm over explaining, I apologize, but like, being in those lines, right? You have to be very careful on who you choose to go where, and there's another level of strategy there that I wasn't prepared for. It literally in the game, and and I think my third or fourth battle, I just got rolled. But like it got its hooks in me a little bit, and I was thinking about it as I was going to bed and whatnot. So and
there's lots of stuff to unlock, and you will get stronger. It's got one of those weird progression systems where you are getting stronger, but you're not really feeling it because you have to start at 0.
Okay.
I don't want to. It's not like Hades where it's like, yes, I now have more health and I do more damage. It's more like Returnal, where it's like, now I can find a super heal that wasn't in the game before. So this run's going to be a lot easier because instead of band-aids and tinctures, I now have like adrenaline potions and triage kits. So you're gaining power in very you are gaining power, but it's done in a way that is hidden from the player in some respects to keep that tension taut.
There seems to be more of a random element than in a Hades or a Dead Cells, which I think people either love or hate.
By the nature of it, yeah. But you're unlocking new characters, you're unlocking new moves, you're unlocking all kinds of new things that can show up in a run and that can play into your strategies. And again, not all of it's going to be there yet. So there will be a lot more to unravel with this one as we get deeper. Right now, just at the beginning, when you sign the contract of denial, it's the only contract in the game right now. But there are 4 others, and we don't know how those are going to affect runs or take us or whatever. It's when this thing is all said and done, I'm confident this is going to be a winner like the first one, if not surpass it completely, but differently, right? I'm glad they were able to take a chance. To be fair, I would have been okay if they just made a Darkest Dungeon 2 that was just more Darkest Dungeon 1. I think everybody would have liked that. But I also got to admire the fact that they're willing to shake it up and make something completely different.
That's exciting. Well, we've talked about the first one here and there here, but is it necessary to play the first one in your estimation?
You do not have to play the first one to enjoy this game at all. In fact, that I think was one of the dangers, right? If they just made a 2 that was just better than the first one, nobody would play 1 anymore. Now 1 is still very playable. I kind of want to play 1 right now, actually. It's still its own thing, right? It's its own and that one's got all of its DLCs and everything. Play with Crimson Court off if you're going to play that game. Just take that note. Do not play with that on. And yeah, it's great in its own right. And they're trying to make 2 differently interesting and awesome experiences. And I think they're going to nail it. Again, I am very conservative when approaching early access, right? Because so many things change. But I am already smitten with this one. So yeah,
wow. Yeah,
let's go.
Let's go indeed. Yeah, I'm in that same boat where if it's an early access, like I didn't play Hades till it got on Switch, so I usually wait, but academic curiosity got the better of me on this one, and I am happy I jumped in. I want to play it some more this weekend and whatnot. So
and I feel like in your position, people who haven't played the series or anything, like I don't want to get too much into this, but like just you're gonna die, all right? But you're gonna learn, and learning is a lot of the stuff you take away. So you're gonna be getting, raw power unlocks, which are like raw numbers and stats, which will help you, but also knowledge is power, and you will learn a lot in your travels. And yeah, Schoolhouse Rock, all that jazz. It's you'll learn more, and it'll be very satisfying to take your learned knowledge into battle.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Well, but I'm before we move on from this, I do want to ask you: has the developer said when their updates are coming, when the final game is coming yet? Before we
I don't think we have a roadmap, but I believe it's 1 year exclusivity on EGS, so that should tell you a lot. You can use that. You can use that as the baseline for when the potential release is for realsies.
Well, I know I'm excited by it, and I think Alex said he's gonna play it. Reiner and Kim, is this your bag here? Are you?
Oh, it is definitely. Yeah, I like the Darkest Dungeon. Disappointed, false advertising, no dungeons. But I'm curious to see what they do with these long highways. That doesn't sound as exciting, but I'll check it out.
Yeah, there you go. Kim, how about you?
Yeah, the backstories sound interesting to me. You know me, I'm a story girl at heart. But also, I really like the first Darkest Dungeon. And as Dan kind of said, I respect that they didn't just play it safe and tried to do some different and new things for the sequel. And I think that's really interesting and compelling to me to just see what they actually, how different it feels compared to that first game, and having trust that they made a great first game. I'm sure this game's going to be good as well. So I'm really curious to see what I end up really liking that they, brought to the new game.
Reiner, in a weird turn for you, you're playing a superhero game, a little Guardians of the Galaxy, perhaps?
It's about time. It's felt like it's been, 10 years since the last superhero game hit. Yeah, I'm super excited to talk about this one because it's something different. It's kind of like Dan was just saying about Darkest Dungeon. They tried something that's unconventional. Eidos Montreal, the developer, that is, and they succeeded in a big way. There's some problems there, but by and large, their vision of what the Guardians of the Galaxy is spot on.
For sure. So take us back here a little, Reiner. Where does the game take place kind of in the story of the Guardians?
Space. Takes place in space.
Shocking.
Does it take place in a galaxy? Potentially?
All right.
It's about a year into, so it's a new standalone story, very much like Insomniac's Marvel Spider-Man games, right? Eidos Montreal is doing its own thing with these beloved characters. So it's the Guardians that you know from the silver screen. You got Groot, you got Star-Lord, Drax, Gamora, and Rocket Raccoon. And that is kind of the team that's taken over in comics as well. Comic readers know there's been dozens of other characters that have been in this group, through decades of time. But this is the one that's really kind of hit home. And the vision that Eidos Montreal has is very similar to James Gunn's from the cinematic universe. You're going to have that weird uncanny valley kind of moment when you see Star-Lord for the first time, right? It's just, you're going to be like, that's not my Star-Lord. We had that with Marvel's Avengers. To a lesser degree with Marvel's Spider-Man, I think him being able to put on the mask most of the time kind of hides that, and you get into the story and you get vested with those characters. This one, Star-Lord is front and center with his, 15-year-old haircut, and he's just in your face the entire time. And he takes a while. It took me a while to warm up to him, right? It really did take some time, but everybody else is immediately likable and charming and as dysfunctional as a unit, as a team, as you want them to be, right? They're always at each other's throats. They always have different opinions on things. Now, here's something I've never said in a game review. And it's shocking. The best part of the game is the dialogue. And It is constant. And when I say constant, if there's 4 or 5 seconds of a break with no one talking from the team, you think your game's broken. It really does seem like there's something going wrong there. That's how much they're chattering. The most amazing part of this is all of that dialogue is contextual to the sequence that you're in. Whether you're on the Milano, their ship, they'll be yelling across it to each other as you're walking around exploring. You're listening to them as you're doing something else. If you're out in the field, on an alien world exploring, they're all chattering. They're talking. If you turn around from the group and go backwards to explore a little alley you see, they ask you where you're going. Again, the dialogue for that one moment of you turning around is unique to that moment.
Yes.
Eidos Montreal thought about that and was like, okay, he's going to climb this thing. We're going to have Rocket make fun of how he climbs. You know, like there's always dialogue that lines up. Even in battle, they don't stop talking.
Yeah.
In the heart of battle, they're about to die. They're still making fun of each other. It's amazing.
Yeah. And I don't know if your experience holds true to mine, Reiner, but the only time I ever heard repeat dialogue was in battle.
Yeah, every once in a while, in the same battle, in the
Yes.
same one fight, there might be a line that fires twice. And that made me think it was like a bug.
Yeah.
Because everything else throughout the game was solid, right? Like it was unique and different. It's amazing. And you really get to know the characters well. You talk about story and relationship building. When they're just constantly talking, you learn everything about them. You learn how they react to situations. And then when there's, quieter moments, you really get to see their emotional sides. And it's a fascinating journey that they end up going on too.
And I think that is helped by their collectibles. There's a couple different collectibles in the game. Some are for suit upgrades, right? And Starlord upgrades, but there's also costumes. But then my favorite ones are there's pieces of whether it's junk or not body parts, but like suit parts and stuff like that that you can pick up in tech, right? That you can go pick up. And it's like, at start, it's like, oh, I'll just bring this back to the ship. And it tells you it unlocks new dialogue, right? But the dialogue it unlocks is actually really worth it because that's where I've thought the best writing came from, especially talking to Rocket about his past and his identity crisis, basically, or like, Gamora's trust issues with people. Like it gets into some really human stuff that I was not really prepared for in a Guardians thing. You know what I mean? I'm used to Chris Pratt zooming around, and the movies touch on it a little bit, right? But I feel like they dive into more of the darker, because this group is really messed up. Like there's a lot of bad stuff that's happened to the people. I don't know about Darkest Dungeon 2 level of trauma, but this is a broken group. But it never goes like BVS levels of like dark, Zack Snyder versus dark type of stuff, So.
Yeah, and it reminded me of Mass Effect in two areas, and that is the amount of choice that you have in any given moment. You always want to keep your hand on the controller because there will be a time choice that comes up, kind of like The Walking Dead does, where you have a certain amount of time to say one of three things or one of two things. And then also, like you just talked about, those collectibles, like Gamora's dolls, where it opens up kind of like those companion missions in Mass Effect. You're not going on a mission with them, but you're having that same level of intimacy with them, getting to know them better in those moments. And I thought that was really great. And then the story, comic readers, there's a writer named Donnie Cates. They kind of honed in on some of the stuff he did. My favorite writer out there right now, that he did a few years ago with the Guardians of the Galaxy. And it starts out with the Guardians messing up and unleashing this evil entity that hurts your eyes to look at, like intentionally so. Like it doesn't make sense how it moves, right? Like it's really sci-fi in its design. And that thing just starts going bonkers throughout the universe, and they need to figure out how to, one, find it and then stop it. But at the same time, they're flat broke. They're in trouble because they're flat broke. They have some fines to pay. So it becomes how do we get rich as we're trying to stop this thing to take care of our debts and move forward? And that kind of hook, all of these hooks kind of work in unison in a really brilliant way. And it ends up being a really fun journey. And it's only brought down by, I would say, a lack of polish and then a lack of trust in the player on Eidos Montreal's part. I really feel like the training wheels are on for too long with this super team. And you're only controlling Star-Lord, by the way. And, he's your viewpoint into this world. And it's not a power fantasy. It's a kind of a team fantasy, right? Like, or a play caller fantasy where your pistols are never doing a lot of damage. No matter what you're doing, every enemy is a sponge. And it's kind of frustrating in that way. But then all of a sudden you're like, wait, on this button here, on my L1 button, I could have Drax come in, or Gamora, or Groot can wrap him up to stop him from running at me. And then we could do some serious damage together. So you could take down a foe super quick like you would want to, that power fantasy, but it's as the team. As Star-Lord on his own, it never really is. You never feel like you have a lot of firepower.
If you're a fan of area effect attacks, this is the game for you, because when you start chaining those Guardians attacks together,
Yeah.
it felt so good to just wipe the floor with like Nova Corps or aliens, or you know what I mean? Like it is a lot of fun when you start to get into it. I agree, Reiner, that it takes
It's
a
incredibly
little bit to get
satisfying.
into it.
Yeah, even though
yeah.
you're just calling to them saying like, "Hey, Drax, do that." It feels good because you had control over that moment. You're setting
Yeah.
up the combos, the
Mhm.
timing of it, because they're all on cooldown. So you got to think about that, who you're using those abilities on, all in real time.
Mhm.
But again, I wish it got to that, all the abilities faster. I wish the end state of the game was the beginning state and we just built on that, where your team's at, where you have 4 abilities each and you're really just kind of chaining stuff together. I wish it just got harder from that point, right? But it is a little boring at first, combat wise. Exploring the worlds, using the Guardian's abilities while you explore is fun.
Yes.
But then there's repetition of the solutions. There's some puzzle elements like, how do I get up to that ledge? Drax has to carry a pillar. Gamora has to cut some vines. You learn that stuff, but then they kind of set up the same sequences over and over and over.
Yeah. But I think to your point earlier, though, at least in my time with it, I never felt, especially in the beginning, there's almost like a limited amount of combat sequences because it is so lore heavy and dialogue heavy, where it's like, even if those aren't necessarily highlights, it moves at a quick pace, so it doesn't feel like you're bogged down by it necessarily, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree completely. And it kind of feels like a Telltale game at times where it's like, I haven't done any interactive stuff in a while. Like I've been watching a lot, talking a lot, doing conversational stuff, choice stuff. And then you get hit with a battle and you're like, oh, it's been a minute since the last one. And that's okay. They definitely, as it gets better, you get more battles. You get to some areas where it feels like you're really in kind of a dungeon setting, or a highway now, I guess we call them. As you you start making progress, it really kind of embraces the combat more. And story at that point, though, that never diminishes. The characters and story just keep, I would say, just keep getting better as the game goes on.
Cool. I know I'm excited to finish it, and I was surprised at how much I enjoyed it. It is interesting. I feel like the internet is a weird place for many reasons, right? But like, it's half the internet. It's like, oh, this is what I want from Avengers, versus the other half. It's like, no, why wasn't it like Avengers? But I really think they stick the execution with just being a Star-Lord, and I never had an urge to be Groot in this context. You know what I mean? I didn't want it because I felt like I had enough control over them as it was. So,
and
I
it's
think,
very much Star-Lord's story, though. You get
Mhm.
flashbacks to when he was a kid, and they do some really cool stuff there, right? Like some really interesting things, some ties with other brands like Star Wars and stuff like that come up. That's
I was shocked. Yeah.
yeah.
I was like, duh, this makes sense, but also what? So, yeah.
And as a comic reader, you get all sorts of fun cameos, and I think it's you have Insomniac Spider-Man here,
Mhm.
Crystal's Avengers here. I would put Marvel's, Eidos Montreal's
In the
Marvel's,
middle.
Guardians of the
Yeah.
Galaxy right in the middle of those two. So I
Definitely.
was very pleased. I had a good time. I hope they get a second chance to do it and build off that combat. Start strong and just make it more bombastic as it goes.
Yeah, most definitely. What did you reviews on the site right now? What
It
do you
is.
give it,
Yep.
sir?
8.5 out of 10. It is a good game.
Yeah, that's a good score. And so check that out on the site, and on the YouTube page. We did a video review of that as well. So I know I'm excited to finish it, and I hope y'all are too, because it's out now actually. A weird Tuesday release. I feel like those don't happen very much anymore. So cool. Well, thank you, Mr. Reiner.
You bet.
We're gonna move right along here, because 1K Star here has been playing little Shin Megami Tensei V, correct?
Hell yeah.
Well, hold on. So first, I have a bone to pick with you and Tack. Why
Uh-oh.
did you never tell me that this series was just adult Pokemon?
I'm
I
sure
feel
I
like we
have. I
have,
put it in
yeah.
every single article I've ever written about that game on the site. I'm pretty
I
sure.
feel
Oh,
like
I
we
thought-
always talk about that.
I thought you meant every article on the site ever, like
Well,
that
now
you've
we'll
done.
just spell it out. Alex, this is adult Pokemon for
Yeah.
In the
you.
footnote.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Kim, you've played a decent chunk of it. Talk
Yes,
about,
but we can only talk about very little, unfortunately, because where we're at with the preview embargo. I actually just double checked that to make sure we are in order. So it makes me sad I can't go into more, but based on what I can talk about, I'm going to open it up like this. I started playing SMT5 and it reminded me what I love about these games is that there's just this unique feel to them that you just can't get elsewhere. Like you step in and you're like, it's dark. Stuff is going to get dark and it's going to keep getting darker. And God, some of the demon designs that I've encountered, I think have been some of the best in the series. Like they really, I feel like outdid themselves and have kept it interesting. But yes, basically, think angels and demons are having a war right now. Tokyo's in shambles. You kind of get thrown into it when you're just investigating like some freak incident you heard about, this like murder that happened and an earthquake happens and everything kind of shakes up and your character gets transported to this post-apocalyptic world of Tokyo, which could be its future or not, depending on what happens in the game.
Oh, geez.
But like the great thing with SMT is just it's very philosophical and it's always been, and it's constantly like basing on like, law and chaos and like what do you think you should do in certain situations? Do you think order is necessary, to have a world that functions, or is it time for a little bit of chaos here and there to kind of, and so you'll as you play the game, you'll be in situations where you will meet characters who will try to sway you to certain sides and see what you think, and you will paint your vision for the future of Tokyo by the end, is what I'm guessing, because that's how every SMT game pretty much goes. But from what I've played so far, it took me a little bit to get into the SMT mindset, because you really need to search every nook and cranny. And these maps, they're deceiving. They seem linear at first, but then as you go through them, you're like, wait, I can jump up here. Oh, there's a ledge up top. So you constantly want to have your camera like looking everywhere, because there's so many hidden things to find that will be valuable. Like you could find something that certain points will just like give you levels for your characters. And you want that, obviously. You want to like, if you find these little guys throughout the world, Min-Mans, I think they're called. You get, bonuses for items and stuff. So it's just like, you constantly want to be putting yourself in a good position and also making sure you're recruiting demons, which is always the fun of demon negotiation. You never know if you're going to piss them off or make them happy. And it is a little bit of a guessing game, but the moons now factor into your success a little bit more. Like you're more likely to get one to join you sometimes on like a full moon or some won't talk to you when the moon's in certain stages. Yeah, exactly. Scientific. You have to work with it. So based on what I've played and I can talk about, like I'm having a lot of fun because you get into this rhythm of just trying to best your last demon and get your party in order. And then you take on these really challenging bosses where it's like, all right, I need to make sure I have what they're weak to. I need to make sure my character is not, well, that's another thing I need to get into is character customization, but that my character, can't be exploited and is holding something that they have power to. So this game, from my initial impressions, like there's way more customization that we've had before to kind of block certain things like that. And even within your demons. So certain skills, if you get an essence of a demon, can be inherited to another demon, and affinities. So like if you like a demon that's like, this demon blocks light and dark, which you absolutely want because those are the instant death attacks. You're like, want to carry that over to my main character, and you can do that. And I've liked messing around with those. So if you essentially find a demon who like is weak to a lot of things, you can essentially just have him inherit that. And that was something that wasn't really in the game before, where you didn't have that much control. And this also extends to your demons as well. Like if I really like a skill on one of my demons, but I'm like, oh, it's a low level now, it's not going to work. You can just get the essence and put that into them and get that cool skill for your guy. So I've been messing around a lot more with my demon party and making them like as BA as possible. So you know how I roll. But
Not
I mean,
BA.
it's SMT, and like not much has really changed with the series, I feel like. And as somebody that's comforting, it's also for some, it might be, if it's your first SMT game, just like it might take time to like, as Alex, like be like, what's going on here? Because the game is weird, and like it doesn't really always give you much guidance in what you need to be doing or how. And it is a lot of experimentation, and that's what it encourages.
For sure. Which is, I like that, and to a certain extent, I struggle with that because I feel like the save system is so archaic in that game.
Yeah.
It is very 90s, 2000s like RPG save, where it's like you could go an hour without getting a save point, and if you die, you are in trouble. Because that happened to me early, and I messaged Kim. I was like, I think I hate this game. And then
but then Pokemon for adults.
I know.
Welcome
you can save in Pokemon.
And the thing with SMT, there's always risk and chance around you, and it is always like you never know. Like the other day, I was like, oh, I just walked in one direction, and I ended up in this fight, and as you know, luckily I got through it by like the skin of my teeth. But I was like, I didn't have a lot of MP going into that. Like that could have been, I could have lost a ton of progress. So I try to save as often as possible. But yeah, it does break my rule, which I say any RPG in this day and age should let you save anywhere. There should not be save points, but SMT uses it as a way to promote like that tension and difficulty. But I don't believe that a save point is difficulty, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But
well,
it's just frustrating for me too, because I've had to put my thing on suspend so many times, and if you're running out of battery too, it can get like yeah, definitely. And to be clear, after I messaged Kim that, and then I dove back in, I played till 2 a.m. Like this game has a lot going for it, and as someone who hasn't played this series before but loves Pokemon, I was getting those same like. I get scared when I play it late at night, because you can never let your damn guard down in this game. That's when it gets you. I was trying to play it while I was watching hockey. Not a good idea. I had so many close calls because I just am like not looking up at the screen, and I'm like, oh, there's another ambush from an enemy. But that's the SMT way, man.
That's how it rolls. I also think it looks great in handheld mode.
Yes, in handheld mode. Docking it looks awful. Like I was really disappointed because I've had to dock it quite a few times when I'm getting low on battery, and I'm just like, this looks not great at all.
Yeah,
but it looks fantastic in handheld mode,
especially on OLED. Like the colors pop really well, especially when you have the contrast of those early levels, right, with some of the more colorful demons that you recruit to your group. So as a first timer, it is challenging, but I really enjoy it so far, and I'm excited to play more and say more when we can.
Just wait until you get to more of the choice stuff, and when it asks you, because it gets real, and it's playing SMT in our times right now feels very different than when I played SMT4 in 2013, I will say that. And so I've had some interesting conundrums in my own head of like, I would have done this years ago, but now I don't think that way. And it's really interesting to kind of go and play now.
You're saying the world has changed over the last 8 years?
Yeah.
That doesn't
We've evolved. Right. The game has not.
Definitely. Well, That's exciting. Look forward to more SMT coverage coming up here.
Yes, when I can talk more, I will love it.
Yes, but Kim, I think that's a great look at the game. Mr. Van Aken,
Hey,
hey bud, how's it going?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Hanging in there?
I've
Yeah?
been soaking in all the knowledge this episode.
Yeah.
A lot of games I haven't played yet. I'm excited to try them too.
It is
So.
it is funny hosting this week to week how like last week was all news, I felt like.
Yeah,
And today is just game after game after game. Speaking of all these
absolutely.
games, you've been playing you've been gaming as well as
I
gamers tend to
have.
do. What have you been up to?
I've been catching up. The past few weeks, I've had family visiting, and so I haven't had much time to play. So I'm behind, and I was already behind before that. So I'm still playing Back for Blood. Really enjoying it. I talked about this with Reiner last night on Video Games Weekly on KFan, and it's been my go-to evening game when even if I just have 15 minutes to play, that's typically enough to get through a short level in that game or a short stretch, right? Before like safe room to safe room. And I've been really enjoying it. It's definitely it lacks a little polish in several areas, but I think overall it's delivering a, modern Left 4 Dead experience. And in some ways, I think it strays from the design in weird ways, but in other ways, like the deck building, I think it's genius. And I think if people, I know when Midnight Suns was announced, like 2 months ago, people were up in arms about the card building system. And I think Back for Blood is a great game that demonstrates that you shouldn't bristle at that. Deck
Give it a
building can be
chance.
give it a chance. Yeah, deck building can augment other genres in really interesting ways. And Back for Blood, it's this randomized. I think you get up to 15 cards, right? And I'm sorry if you all have already talked about it on the show, but I love the deck building system because that's where you really get to customize your character. And even though there is this sense of randomness to it, it's weird. I love it though. I deck out my guy with like shotgun. I'm like essentially a shotgun tank. And my dad, who I've played through the whole campaign with so far, he is doing more traditional assault rifle, up in your face, just kind of sheer damage. And I'm more of like okay, when I can, I'll try to like go in first and you can shoot them from behind, right? And it's just so much fun. And I'm a little disappointed by the story. I mean, I felt like there was a more coherent story in the Left 4 Dead games, even though there are more side activities in Left 4 Dead that gave context to the story. It's like, okay, we need to carry this gasoline to this car. We need to go to this shopping mall. And Back for Blood, it's a lot of dilapidated towns, countrysides, and like city blocks. There hasn't been one. I guess there's a cruise ship. I don't know. I just felt like there's less variety.
It's a sinking cruise ship.
It is a
Yeah.
sinking cruise ship, yeah.
Which is a nightmare in itself. But I do think, to your point, I think Left 4 Dead had the advantage of being mini movies, right? That was the structure
Yeah.
that Valve and Turtle Rock, when they were part of Valve, set up, where it was these
It's more
isolated
vignettes.
stories. Yeah, exactly. That I think fed nicely into the zombie theme that they were going for, right? Whereas this, it's like everything is connected, but
And it doesn't need to be because it's incoherent.
Yeah.
I have no idea what's happening in the story. I've seen some military vehicles I've ridden in. I think at one point I was loading some missiles into a cannon. There was a very cool bar scene that I had a lot of fun in, and the cruise ship was memorable. But the cruise ship is at the start of the game, and it's like the first segment of the end of the first segment in the first act, and bombastic, memorable, and then after that, it's all a blur, kind of. I know that's negative, but
Yeah,
it's one of those games
I
you
feel
can
you,
turn
though.
your brain
Yeah.
off. I like being able to turn my brain off. I kind of at the start of a match, I organize my cards, I strategize, and then the game just doles out what I'm going to get, and I get to make these small decisions. Okay, this card or that card throughout the game, and it's just fun. It's dumb fun, and I'm really liking it. And I want more content for that game. I'm already I'm halfway through the game and I'm like, oh, it's almost over. I want more levels to come. So,
the thing that hooks me is just the new zombie types that come up. Once
Yeah.
you finish Act 1, you're like, okay, that was cool. Are we just going to keep repeating this in new locations? And it's like, well, no, there's new
Yeah.
types. How are they going to attack us? That's part of the fun of moving forward.
yeah, for sure. So Back for Blood's been mainly it. Been catching up on Psychonauts 2. I am very early, but really enjoying it. I did not play Psychonauts 1, so Raz and the crew are all new to me, and it's a lot of fun. It's quickly becoming one of my favorites of the year. So
Good.
yeah, that's what I've been up to.
Yeah, that's exciting. I hope everyone on staff gets to play Psychonauts because that is one of my favorite games of the year as well. If y'all are curious, you can go to GameInformer.com, look at our reviews for both of those games. I'm glad you're liking both Van Aken, but I think we need to say goodbye to Mr. Reiner and head over to community emails. So, Reiner, any parting words for the beautiful GI community?
I love you all. Thank you for all the support. And we have, I know there's a question about what's coming next that I wasn't going to be able to answer. So I'll try to do that real quick right here. But full magazine redesign, a bunch of new shows. 2 of them we've launched already. All Things Nintendo, Video Gameography. Those are out there now from Brian Shea and Ben Reeves. And then also something new next week, which we're going to be debuting, a new physical product, which I'm excited about that we've been working on for a while. So stay tuned. All new things coming here before the end of the year.
Yeah, it's an exciting time. And a new office, too.
New office next year. Yeah, early next year.
Yeah, which
I tweeted a picture. You can put it up now.
There it is, Alex. Make a note.
The audio listeners just love that. That was fantastic.
Can you describe every detail for them, please? Yeah.
We're destroying the whole thing and rebuilding it. So just picture chaos.
Yeah. It is
we
funny.
We chose chaos in SMT. We chose it.
We did it. It is funny. We've been sitting on that for a little bit now, and I think I asked either Marcus or John. I was like, are we talking about this publicly yet? And then you tweeted that. I was like, okay, now we're good. But yeah, new office, new video studio, which Alex and I are working with Reiner on. And I can't wait to be back in the studio, and it's going to be a good time.
A funny little side story is I've signed, a mortgage. I've gotten a mortgage for a house, and you do that, and then you move in shortly after. They give you a date you move in.
Yep.
You sign a lease on a building, and there's a lot of stuff that happens. So I told our team, and it's like, okay, let's get ready. And it's like, nope, it's going to be a long haul yet, 60 to 90 days just to get this thing moving. And it's like, oh gosh. So it's been a long time coming, but we're getting close. And new home, new shows, new magazine. The redesign looks amazing. Yeah. Bringing in all of our personalities, our designers, our video people into the print edition. It's going to be something special. And I can't wait for people to get it.
We're all getting new haircuts, coloring our hair. It's going to be crazy. New people. It's going to be a whole thing. Look at that. Right there.
That's Game Informer next right there.
It's Alex's hair. All right, let's take a break and we'll be right back.
This show is sponsored by GeForce NOW, NVIDIA's cloud gaming service that transforms nearly any laptop, desktop, tablet, and smartphone into a powerful PC gaming rig. You play the real PC version of games you own from popular game stores. Over 1,000 games with nearly 100 free-to-play games. You don't have to rebuy those games to play them on any GeForce NOW compatible device. Pre-order a GeForce NOW RTX 3080 membership for the best cloud gaming experience at GeForceNow.com. So long before they were a sponsor, I actually was a fan of GeForce NOW. I played it on a holiday vacation when I was off in the woods of Colorado in the deep mountains and the snow. Couldn't bring my PC with me, so I brought a very not good laptop. And I played Rust through GeForce NOW because I was being raided almost daily. And I had to check in, I had to get my reinforcements, my wood, my stone, had to keep my everything good. And GeForce NOW helped me to do that. And I even got a few kills against other people, which I feel like I was not expecting while also streaming a game through the cloud to my very, once again, not good laptop. And GeForce NOW helped me do that, and it was a really fun experience. New games, new features. That's GFN Thursday, a weekly celebration of the newest games, features, and news, streaming from the cloud to you. Every Thursday, GeForce NOW adds support for more games. Check out the GFN Thursday blog to learn more.
Welcome back to the Game Informer Show, Mr. Van Aken.
Hey.
It's one of my favorite times because you get to talk and I get to shut up for a second. Let's do some housekeeping, shall we?
Yeah, my favorite time too. It's housekeeping, new podcast review. We always start housekeeping, reading off a review. If you go and leave one for us on Apple Podcasts, it helps us out a lot. So we want to thank you and read off your review. This week's review is a 5-star review by Green Apple, saying, I love the show. I listen every week and have been for many years. You all help me pass the time and create as I wander this world. You new fellas are doing great. Thanks for having Ben Hansen back on. And Dan Tack, you are my favorite entertainer. That's bold. Wow. That's huge, Green Apple. And the review closes out saying, thank you all. Green Apple, thank you for going to leave that podcast review over on Apple Podcasts. Of course, leave honest reviews. We don't want you to just go and leave a fake review. Please give us your critique if you have any, but try to be positive, if you can, if it's in you. I know it's not in some of you. You
really
know who I'm talking to.
Yeah.
You know who I'm talking to.
Yeah.
Zoom in on the face. You know who I'm talking to. Thursday streams this week, 2 p.m. Central. We're going to be streaming Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. So tune in for that. We've got an awesome sponsor this week as well. Notable YouTube videos. We just finished up the Saints Row videos finally. Go check out all of those and prepare for all of our next cover is going to be huge. I'm just going to say that. And there's a lot of reason to get excited if you are a fan of the YouTube channel. But also in the meantime, go check out Alex's Guardians of the Galaxy video review, of course, written by Reiner, at youtube.com/Game Informer. Also, new Gameplay Today episodes always coming out. So go stay tuned to the channel. Lastly, follow everybody on social media. You can follow Alex, our wonderful host, at Stadnik76. You can follow me at It's Van Aken. You can follow Mr. Dan Tack at Dan Tack, and you can follow Kim at KStar1980.
No, KStar 1785.
I wasn't sure if it was like birth year or what, but
KStar
1785. Go follow Kim, say hello. Of course, follow Reiner at Andrew_Reiner. Go check out our new podcast. Video Gameography is our new history podcast hosted by the one and only Ben Reeves, and All Things Nintendo, our new weekly Nintendo podcast covering the news, the latest happenings in the world of Nintendo, hosted by one Brian Shea. And Extra Life, it's happening November 6th. Mark your calendars. That's what, 2 Saturdays from now? Is that? Wow. Okay. Yeah. That's a week and a half away. I'm scared. We are finalizing, the actual start time, but I'd imagine around 8 or 9 a.m. Central, somewhere around then. November 6th. We're going for 25 hours. Am I missing anything, Alex?
Can I
because I missed the meeting.
I think we can safely announce here on the Game Informer show. I believe it's up out there anyways, but it is Game Informer and MinMax featuring Easy freaking Allies, baby. That's
go.
right.
No
we got
way.
him.
Let's
Easy
go.
Allies is joining us.
go.
There we go. That's hype. You want hype? We got it, baby. We're really excited. The folks over at Easy Allies are going to join us. We're still working on timing and segments that they're going to be a part of. But if y'all love that channel like we do, it should be very exciting. We also have some dastardly donation incentives planned. Also some nice ones if you want to be nice to us on stream. But I can't wait. We have some really fun stuff in the works. Some new stuff, some familiar stuff. November 6th, it is coming very quickly. So get hyped for that, baby. Get hyped!
I am very hype, Alex. And even more hype because it's time for listener emails. Of course, if you want to write into the show, write in at podcast@gameinformer.com or via our Discord, which you get access to from subscribing to our Twitch channel at twitch.tv/gameinformer. And as Alex usually says, this is the part of the show that you influence what we talk about. So Alex, take it away.
And I don't even need to say any of that because you handled it so beautifully. Thank you, Mr. Van Aken. First, email. This is from email, our email section, podcast@gameinformer.com. And they say, and Mike Boyle says, hello, everyone at Game Informer. First off, thanks for always having my podcast to listen to. Okay. So many of a certain age remember the Game Genie, right? Well, let's say you're cleaning one and you find an old one. When you dust it off, an actual genie pops out of it. Whoa, okay. He says, "I am the mighty gaming genie, and I can grant you any 3 gaming wishes." So if you had 3 gaming wishes, what would they be and why? Hashtag big man swag.
Well, I don't want to take up the whole podcast with 3 wishes, so I'll just do 1 wish. But first off, I want to say I've changed my meal plan for today because of Green Apple's great review. All right, I'm now going to have apples and cheese for lunch instead of my plan.
Ooh.
Thank you, Green Apple, for the great review. Let's get on to the question, though. Let's see. This one's going to be pretty spicy. Number 1, Genie. We eliminate all microtransactions forever.
That was mine. Yep.
Whoa, great wish. Everybody's happy.
That's a good
We
one.
saw, and then after that, we can have world peace and world hunger. I mean, the 3 biggest. Oh, those aren't gaming wishes, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I got one. I got 2 actually. I think.
Okay.
One, the next one, that you would never lose any progress in a game. So, those save points or anything else. Yeah, you never lose any progress.
But Kim, what about games where that's like part of the game, like in Super Mario, where you just forever live like Zombie Mario? No, it's a real question.
No, you can die. Just you would never lose progress.
It's like some monkey paws stuff. Like
Mario
can't be killed.
You stay on this. You're taking this way too seriously. And then my other thing is that everybody would have to be nice to each other in online play.
Oh, there we go.
I thought these were wishes, not fairy tales. Come on.
Ooh.
Oh. Okay.
My wish is number 1. I'm with Kim. Everybody needs to be nice to me in multiplayer lobby. Well, everybody just needs to be nice in general to everybody.
Yes.
Wish number 2, anytime I want to play a multiplayer game, I have a full lobby of friends ready to play with me. They just sense that I am ready to play the game, and they change their schedules accordingly. And then wish number 3.
A shot.
Wish number 3 is revive Viva Pinata.
Okay.
Finally, rare.
All right.
Please.
Oh, let's get another wish in there. Bring back Golden Sun. I know everybody wants to hear that, so hey, there it is.
You're always trying to appeal to the people.
He's a man of the people.
Yes,
yeah.
I believe ending microtransactions, people would be happy.
My 3rd wish is erase Golden Sun from existence.
Whoa! All right, we got a heat war.
Wow.
Probably the most realistic of all the wishes, right?
That's just like what's happening. That's reality.
Yeah, I mean it's reality. Golden Sun is in some closet somewhere, and some executive blows dust off. It's like been Indiana Jones lost Arked in some room somewhere when they need pull out that old IP. Let's dust that one off and turn it into a microtransaction laden mobile game. The kids will love it.
Heck.
Yeah.
How about all of Nintendo's online catalog would be free to play?
Oh, we may be flying too close to the sun today, folks. That one. Ooh, we got some zingers.
Like, yo, man,
the genie is sweating. The genie is sweating. He's like, oh.
Yeah. Y'all are making me really work today.
That guy's name is Bowser. You think I want to mess with that? No, thank you. Oh, that's a good one, actually. I
actually have one real one.
Okay.
That every time I go to play a game, it's already updated. Because I already turned that setting on. So why in the world are my patches not installing when I have it to auto patch? But every time I log into my PlayStation, there's a list of patches that haven't downloaded. Tell me, Sony. Tell me.
Yo, I think some patches hurt Alex today. All right, this is some serious.
The genie's like, you good, man?
The anger.
Yeah.
You can feel it coming across the camera.
The inconvenience.
How
dare you?
This is going back to Golden Sun, but I feel like was Mario Tennis a part of the Nintendo 64 expansion pack for Switch? Does anyone know? Because someone brought up the fact, or it was a product description, and Nintendo said from the creators of Golden Sun and someone else, and people were like, they mentioned Golden Sun?
Whoa.
Are you kidding me?
It's in universe now. It really happened.
It's canon. Mario, in a world where Chris Pratt is Mario, sure, let's canon too.
Oh my! I can't wait for that, dude. Opening night, I'm going. I'm going. I'm getting.
I
There's going to
bet
be
you
so much
won't.
popcorn.
Bet you
Yeah,
won't.
We
Absolutely.
need to
That's
do
a
a
that's a
watch
bad bet to
party
take.
for it. Dang it.
I'm there. I am there.
fun.
I'm red carpeting that one. Okay, I'm going. You know,
With the jacket.
Of course.
that's
yeah.
right.
He's hosting the red carpet premiere.
Yeah, we're here live at the. Oh my God, can you
What is
imagine?
this movie called again?
Talking to half those actors, be like, what movie is this?
Yeah. Who are you? Why are you here? Yeah.
Actually, a fun question. There's
Yeah.
a lot of things we
Yeah,
could change
we
about
have
our
lots of
gaming
wishes.
world.
Yeah, definitely. A couple wishes. Console shortage be over. Be nice.
Yes.
Everyone just get a PlayStation. Everyone gets an Xbox. I
Everyone
want
who wants one
you know?
gets one. Come on.
Yeah, it's a beautiful world. I think that's called 2023. Maybe longer than that. I want dear sweet Andy McNamara to walk into his new office and get on the phone with whomever and demand 2 games. This can be two wishes. Game 1, Dante's Inferno 2.
No,
Everyone's asking for it. The internet's blazing. They need it. If we got a sequel to Mirror's Edge, why not Dante's Inferno?
why?
2?
Of all the things you could possibly ask for in
I'll
this
get
world,
to the
Mirror's
crowd
Edge is-
pleaser, but this is for
Mirror's
me,
Edge
okay?
is
that's the
good.
IP. That's the one that we have to bring back. My God.
Not have to. We get to because it was great and it left things on a cliffhanger that I will never recover from. Game number 2, he's like, all right, now that we got the crowd pleaser out of the way, we'll give this little game called Titanfall 3 a sequel. We'll throw it out there and see what
I
happens.
mean, that one you don't have to wish. That's I say there's a reasonable chance that occurs someday.
Mm.
Because there was that whole kerfuffle, right, where it was like someone talked to like a social media coordinator at Respawn, and they're like, Titanfall, nah, not happening. And then like higher people at Respawn were like, no, we just said like right now nothing's going on. I do think
They got to talk to my uncle at Nintendo. He's got the real scoop.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
big Titanfall fans over at Nintendo.
My uncle
Yeah.
told me, and I brought it to 5th grade class. And, I told all my kids at lunch, and they went home and told their parents to get that game that doesn't exist. My unkie at Nintendo told me.
Jan Tack, I don't know who's your uncle.
Bob.
Bob Tack.
Good old
Bob
Bob
said
Tack.
that Titanfall 3 is a Switch exclusive, and that's why they're not
That's
talking
exactly what
about
he
it.
said. There it is. There it
Yeah.
is.
Bob
it's
does
on-
have a
it's on the-
drinking problem though, so
It's on the Switch Pro. It's on the Switch Pro, folks.
There we go. Oh yeah, the Switch Pro. That is intimate. Imminent. There we go.
Oh God,
Wow, this got away
Any
from
day
us
now.
that's a
really
great
quickly.
question.
It was a
Really
really
got
great
us
question.
thinking.
I thought this was gonna last like 2 seconds, then we really got rolling there. I'm trying to think if there's any other great games that I only appreciate, but I think we hit the nail on the head there. So, Mike, thank
was
you so
fun.
much for the question. That was a lot of
Thanks,
fun.
Mike.
Here's another fun one. This one is for C Raider Gaming over at on Discord. Crater says, if GI was an RPG, what kind of characters would you be? Class, stats, specials, tropes, etc. Dan Tack, we already know, is canonically a mage. But what else you got? Are you a mage?
I deny the magery. That was
Oh,
a replay joke. Well, we got plenty of those. Boy. If wishes were replay jokes. No, I would be a Borbarian. Okay? So that is a barbarian that can summon and control birds. All right?
Oh, okay.
There you go. I've
Little
just created this
druid in there.
class. I've just
Okay.
created this class.
well, no one's gonna top that.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Tack.
I mean, I would be support healer because I'm always the person reviving others in games and making sure their health is okay. I wish I could say I would be something more flashy, but healer is super important. So I keep biatches alive. Yeah.
Oh, you got to tip the healer always. Van Aken, how about you? Oh, here we go.
I didn't actually pull this out because I didn't even see this question before. I got to change my strings, but it just so happens to be here. So, a bard. That's what I would be.
Oh,
And
Good class.
instead of healing people, it's massively out of tune, so I'm not gonna play it. Instead of healing people, flame. I'm a spellcaster, and
You're
my
an attack bard?
attack bar exactly. So this chord right here, ooh, the G major, oh, that's an
Means
ice spell. The
major
C minor, oh, yeah.
Your dandelion.
Okay, you thought about this.
This is
I don't
good.
know.
Yeah. You ever played D&D?
I have.
Yeah. Were you a bard in that too?
No, I was a one of the water creatures that had a phobia of water.
Oh, that's pretty good.
It's pretty interesting. Yeah.
I like that. Okay. Yeah. I was gonna say barbarian and then tack just totally had a
But
better
I'm not a
answer than I
barbarian.
did, so-
I'm a
or
borbarian.
I'm literally I'm picturing for tech, I'm picturing the crow from Death's Door, but on the body of have y'all seen the weird Amazon statues of Pokemon, but like buff?
I'm not actually a bird. It's a standard barbarian, but I have like a bird loadout kit. All right,
Well,
like I can
I like
summon.
my
I can
thing
Yeah,
summon
better for
things.
you.
Get
Yeah.
it right.
Oh,
I like
that's
my
cool.
thing better for you.
No, Dan's is cooler. Like you like shoot out birds from
Exactly.
Yeah.
I can. It's got like bird summons, bird like eyes in the sky come down
your
and reveal an
your
area.
swords are like made of like giant like bird talons.
Sure, as long as they were, we didn't hurt the birds. To
No, they
create
shed
those.
it. It's like
Yeah.
they shed it. Yeah.
Yeah, like
mean,
They gave it to you as a
yeah.
gift.
The Raven's poison talon dagger and all those other cool, yeah, sweet stuff, dude.
Yeah.
Like I'm into this. Wow, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I have like, I've got my personal birds, and then I have like just the army of birds, right? It's gonna be cool. I got like my
You have
sidekick
some
bird.
ducks
You're the
too.
king of the birds.
Yeah, there's definitely a duck. The duck I have is like the super intelligent sidekick that like makes cracks, like Brian from Family Guy. Like he's kind of aloof. He's kind of
Yeah.
aloof, and he's like, man, that's quackers. And when I do something dumb like charge headlong into a fight, and just start smashing goblins, and he just turns to the camera, hey, this is a new class. We're trying it out here, workshopping it.
It's working. I like it.
I want to see the misadventures of Borbarian and Alex's flame wielding bard here.
I think it would be sweet.
I think that could
Yeah.
Let's do it. I got an animated series. I'll call Netflix. They'll put anything on that freaking
Yeah.
thing. Let's go. Let's go.
Oh my goodness.
Let's go.
What
Let's
fun. Sea Raider, thank you so much for the question. That was beautiful. Last one, and then we're gonna say goodbye because this is
But
already
really?
been- Well, yeah.
It's like three, all right.
It's been
All
three.
right.
It's been three every time. We usually go like an hour on these things. So
All right. Let's do it. I'm
Yeah.
hype. We had some
Yeah.
good questions.
Do it.
Yeah. So, spooky season is here. It's been here, and we're coming to the end of it, unfortunately, with Halloween being this weekend. And Biscuits with
What?
Davey over on Discord. I know some people keep Halloween in their hearts all year round, but Biscuits with Davey ends our section this week by asking if you had enough money to hand out game codes for Halloween, which ones would you give out and why?
Oh,
This is a really challenging one because the games that I
Yeah.
would give out for Halloween are not appropriate for the age that's out there getting candy.
Yep,
Um,
you would get
I'll-
some calls, I think.
Certainly. Hey kids, here's Visage. This is a real. You're gonna love this one. Don't show it to mom and dad, okay?
man.
I don't know. Luigi's Mansion. Let's go with something. We got to go with something family friendly, right? These are.
I feel like you feel it out because I don't know how old were y'all when you stopped trick or treating? I think I was like,
Oh, I went late.
18.
yeah,
Well, I went late. Wait.
I'm kidding. Not
Wait.
really.
It's
I
like,
was like, I
12.
felt like bad about it when yeah, exactly. I was like,
I was
13 is
12.
too old for this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
13
was
was when like,
12.
I really want those Snickers bars, but it just ain't right. So
But I
13 is
already
when I
have-
started going with my brothers and like walking them around.
oh, there you go.
You
Yeah.
go late at night and you go to the houses that give the king size bars out. That's when you know
king
you're
size bars.
Yeah.
Oh,
big
that's why
kid.
you went to
big
the rich
leagues.
neighborhoods.
You
Yup.
got to
Yeah.
scout out the house that just leaves the barrel of king size bars outside because they don't want to deal with it. You just
Just
like
take one.
yeah,
with
of course
the
you only
note.
took. We all only took one, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. Okay.
Yeah.
This question is spiraling out of control as they often do.
Yeah. To make it spiral even more, I don't have any money to give codes out, so I'm gonna give
but
a
if
real
you
game
did-
code out on the show right now.
What?
Oh,
You actually?
what?
It's
You
a,
have-
Oh my god! No
it's a
way.
game code. I don't know anybody that plays Google Stadia, so this is a Google Stadia code. The first person to enter it gets a mystery game code. The code is 6N4KLARBBP7FL1CL. Enjoy that mystery game code for Google
Bro,
Stadia.
you're not even gonna tell them what game it is?
I've
Nope.
claimed the game. It is Alex's Scarefest. Wait, what is this? Alex, is this your game?
No, it's a mystery game.
No, wow.
No, you wouldn't even.
Yeah. There was no. There was.
It's
I got
Young
nothing here.
Souls on
Yeah.
Google Stadia.
Oh.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I wanted
You
to
know
keep it a
what?
mystery, but
Yeah. Well,
I
I mean,
would
you can
give
still edit
out-
that out. Yeah.
I would give out my RPG greatest hits codes because, like, the kids, they need to get educated and about the greats of the RPG genre, and I think that would be fun to do. So that's what I would do.
Yeah. Enough of this fort knifing around here. Let's get some RPGs in there, right? That's what we tell the kids.
Yep.
Yeah, you know what? I think you kind of accidentally stumbled upon it though. If you went the crowd pleaser, just give them Fortnite skins, right?
For real.
that's
Isn't
what
that
I
nice?
want.
Yo, what if we signed a deal with Epic and we each got exclusive skins that like people had to come to our houses for?
I want
That is
people
the
coming
that
to
is
my
the
house.
last thing you want in the world.
Yeah.
What?
No.
I'm just trying to. I'm
Especially-
throwing it out there.
Especially that age group. No.
You know? No. Yeah. Let's be honest. Some like 18-year-old would like break in and steal all the codes. probably.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
if they'd have to get them out of you first, man, this is turning really dire. I don't even want to go there.
This is hey, it's spooky season, right? We're supposed to be
Yeah.
scared.
Yeah, and there's nothing
Spooky,
spookier than like
scary.
being accosted for Fortnite codes. So like, yeah.
Well, like, yeah, Pokemon cards wouldn't be good in this time and age either. What about like Costume Quest? I think that'd be fitting, right?
I would give them Goosebumps books to encourage them to read. Forget about the codes.
Dan Tack.
We're just
We
going
need- we need
completely
some-
off
Some
rails.
bona fide edutainment back in this world,
His,
my friends.
his house is gonna get TP'd.
Actually, you know what? After I would. You want to be the biggest troll in the neighborhood? You give them that code for that Goosebumps Dead of Night game that we had to play on replay. They'll never come to
Twice?
your house again. They'll
Twice?
never come to your house again. All right,
Yeah.
they get to play a game. They never come to my house. Everybody wins.
Stay away. You're truly the Ebenezer Scrooge of Halloween tech.
Well, no, but
Loves Halloween, though.
yeah, I'm big on Halloween. Fave holiday.
Really?
Yeah,
It's yeah. I'm trying to think if there's anything fun. See, like that's the thing though. You're giving out codes on Halloween, but when they're gonna play them, it's not Halloween time.
I mean, yeah, the codes don't have to be the
I
stuff
said
that
the
I want to
RPGs
play.
make sense.
RPGs one's good. Yeah, the RPGs ones are good. Are there anything you would call out in the RPG one, or is it a mystery code like Van Aken sent out?
I think these kids need to see the greatness of Chrono Trigger.
Yeah.
Maybe some Earthbound. Maybe
Ooh.
some Final Fantasy VI.
Okay.
I'm going.
So
I'm
you're gonna-
going old for nostalgia because I feel like they have these games. Probably they haven't touched them, so I want games that like are important.
Definitely. You hear that? Mother 3 exclusive
Oh
to Kim
god,
Wallace's.
no! We left the Nintendo
Yeah.
uncle in another question. He's not coming back.
He's locked in a closet somewhere.
Trying to find his way out. He's
You
got
know,
Golden Sun 3.
All Super Nintendo RPGs. How about that? We
There
just
we go.
do that. There's the codes. Get them some. What an era. Ugh,
what a time to be alive.
what a time to be alive. I
Yeah.
was alive then.
Are you not now? Moving on.
Moving on. Woohoo.
Ooh, spooky. Well, I think we're moving on to the end here. I think that about does it. Thank you for joining us on another wild ride. You know, we've had some highs, some lows, some laughs, some crying, but we got through it. And I think we're all stronger for it. So if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Especially subscribing on the bigger podcast apps helps us a lot. Apple, Spotify, we really appreciate it. Leave a review, like we said, if you're liking the show. If you're not liking the show, leave some constructive criticism instead of like saying we're just stupid and can't talk about video games. So be sure to like, share, and subscribe over on YouTube. Go to the site for some of the best written work in the industry and check out the magazine. I think you'll enjoy it. I'm biased, but there's some good stuff in there. So, friends, thank you so much for joining us. Viewers, thank you so much for watching. Be good to one another. Happy Halloween, and we will see you next time. Bye, everyone.